We begin tonight with what police are calling the deliberate murder of a family of four in London, Ontario. A 20-year-old man has been charged with 4 counts of murder after ramming his pickup truck into a Muslim family out for a walk on Sunday night. The victims include a 74-year-old woman, a 44-year-old woman, a 46-year-old man, and a 15-year-old girl. A 9-year-old boy survived the attack and is in hospital. And police also say that terrorism charges are being considered against the alleged perpetrator. Amira Elghawaby is a human rights activist and a member of the Anti-Hate Network, and she joins me now. Amira, thank you very much for taking time to speak with me this evening. And I'm sorry that it's under these circumstances, and here we are talking about this kind of an issue again. So I'm wondering what feelings you are having right now as we learn some of the details of what police say is this premeditated mass killing of 4 members of a family simply because they're Muslim.
Peter, it's utter shock and dismay mixed in with fear. I haven't been able to stop my hands from shaking, to be honest, for the past few hours. Obviously thinking about this poor family, like any of our families, looking forward for a beautiful evening walk and, being targeted in such a horrific, senseless way. It really boggles the mind, how someone so consumed by hatred could deliberately go after a grandmother with her daughter and grandchildren and her husband. It's beyond the pale, of course, and it brings back horrific memories as well of an attack on a Quebec City mosque in which 6 worshippers were gunned down by someone also motivated by hatred of people who are of the Muslim faith. And so it's just heartbreaking. And, it's something that you can never prepare for news like this. And certainly our hearts are thinking of the family and the entire London community right now.
What questions do you think need to be answered and certainly asked about the circumstances of this attack and the young man who apparently carried it out?
There are many questions that we need answered, certainly. We don't know yet what evidence the police have in determining that this was indeed a hate-motivated mass murder. We don't know. Was this perpetrator, for instance, consuming hatred online? This is unfortunately a very, very significant concern for those of us monitoring hate groups in this country who've seen these very dangerous narratives online spilling over into real life. We've actually seen during the pandemic this, toxic mix of people who are conspirators and seeing, conspiracies everywhere about COVID coming together with far-right groups and, the racism that those groups espouse spilling over. So, of course, many of us and many of your viewers will have heard about the spike of hate against Asian Canadians in our country. We've heard about all sorts of incidents as well impacting Canadian Muslims up until now, including across the country, places like Alberta, in which visibly Muslim women have been targeted in a series of attacks over the past few months as well. So the questions have to be, what motivated this individual to do this crime, to commit this terror? And certainly it is terrorism, because there seems to have been an ideological motivation, a hatred towards Canadian Muslims.
The Mayor of London said today that the Muslims in his city should feel safe, that this attack doesn't represent the people of London or what London is. But how safe do Muslims in Canada feel in these times?
Well, we know that hate crimes, Peter, are considered to be message crimes, that when someone is targeted, or family in this instance, it's not simply that family that is going to feel the horrific repercussions of that it really does send out a very frightening message to others who share in the identity that this family was targeted for. And so absolutely, there is a lot of concern, there's a lot of fear. I've already received messages from our local police service here in Ottawa talking about heightened surveillance of places of worship and monitoring to ensure that people feel safe. But, an attack like this, it just comes out of nowhere. And it seems that way, at least. Those who are monitoring these groups are frightened of these types of outcomes, certainly, and warn police authorities to take reports of hate more seriously than sometimes they do.
All right, Amira Elghawaby, we continue to learn and wait on more information involving this attack, but it's a terrible tragedy for the country, and condolences to your community and Muslims across the country. It's a terrible day for them and for the country, and thanks for your time tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Peter.